So, how about we contrast that with a homeless success story? We don't have to look far. Nicole Hayden with the Oregonian recently published this piece. Washington County has eliminated homeless encampments. Now that headline definitely got our attention, and it should get yours as well. We talked with Nicole today about her reporting. She said folks at the Oregonian have been looking into supportive housing services tax dollars and how metro counties are spending it, or not. They found that Washington County is getting money out the door the fastest, and in this case, building what appears to be a working homeless service system from scratch.
They also didn't already have a system they were trying to redo. It wasn't like turning a big ship around in a river. They were building from the ground up. So that kind of gave them more room to be flexible and just immediately dive headfirst into best practices. But also, if in Washington County they wanted to pivot or change what they were doing, they just needed to get one board to say, okay, and that's Washington County's Board of Commissioners. And also they found that the commissioners leaned to their expertise. So there wasn't a lot of back and forth. In Multnomah County, we have the joint office, we have the city of Portland, we have Multnomah County's board. Everyone gets a say in how our ship is moving. And if we want to make changes, it's a bigger process for sure.
For sure. Obviously, the homeless crisis in Washington County is quite a bit different than here in Multnomah County. Yes, from the bureaucracy standpoint, as she pointed out, but also sheer numbers of homeless folks. I mean, it's hundreds in Washington County, thousands here.
Washington County leaders did tell me is that, this might not be a model for Multnomah County to follow exact because they are bigger, more complex, but for other communities across the state who don't have a homeless services system and they're trying to get up to speed and trying to kind of follow the rules the state set in place about how to respond to homelessness, like this could be a system for smaller communities.
So, all right, how did Washington County do that? What's the playbook? Well, first, shelter beds. Over 2 years, Washington County went from 46 beds to 426. Next, they have an outreach system. They created a by name list to track each homeless person by where they tend to sleep at night. And this line from Nicole's story really stood out to us in regards to that list. Outreach workers sat at the same table as county leaders each week to discuss each person's case. What kind of housing was available for this person? How can they re-engage with that other person who left the shelter? Where might they find him or her again? That collaboration, coupled with a massive boost in housing vouchers from 200 to more than 1,800 overnight, gave outreach workers the tools they needed. But the county didn't stop there. They divided the county into 8 regions with a different nonprofit assigned and responsible for each region.
They weren't looking at a list that was hundreds and hundreds of names long. They were looking at a list that was maybe 100 names long. And so they could really tailor services to the group. And they kind of created their outreach teams based on regions as well, which is kind of similar to things we're starting to see happen in the Portland area. But again, since there's such fewer folks who are unhoused in Washington County, they're easier to it was easier for them to more quickly kind of chase that idea and kind of be successful with that.
All right, well, here's the results. The first year, the county got 370 people into housing with vouchers. This is Washington County. They had missed their goal of 500, but then last year, they placed 630 people. And this year, they're well on their way to placing 500 people before the end of June, which is the end of the fiscal year. So, yeah. In Washington County, it's working. Well done. If you'd like to learn more about Washington County's efforts and hear from a woman who got off the streets there, check out Nicole's story in the Oregonian. It's definitely worth your while. At last check, it is not behind a paywall, so you're free to read the whole thing without a subscription on OregonLive.com. But even if you need a subscription, the Oregonian's a great newspaper. Get one. All right, that's my little plug. And while we're on the topic of homeless strategy, several of you emailed us on Sunday morning regarding the segment on CBS Sunday Morning. Thanks to Ann and Tom and Larry and all the rest of you for alerting us. Inside Houston's successful strategy to reduce homelessness. According to the report, 12 years ago, Houston went all in on a concept we often hear about called Housing First. Basically, spending money to get people into their own apartment, subsidize their rent, and then provide the services they need to get their lives back on track, instead of trying to fix someone's issues first or just adding shelter beds. The so-called architect of Houston's strategy, Mandy Chapman Semple, told CBS the idea that if you have no permanent place to live, that you're also going to be able to transform and tackle complex mental health issues, addiction issues, complex financial issues, it's just unrealistic. She now advises other cities on the strategy in Houston, places like Dallas, New Orleans, Oklahoma City. What do results look like? Well, in 2012, homelessness in greater Houston area is down 63% since 2012. According to the report, and more than 30,000 people have been housed. So how do you even start a program like this one? Well, in Houston's case, it was convincing dozens of unconnected agencies and nonprofits to join forces under a single umbrella overseen and operated by Houston's Coalition for the Homeless. That allowed for systems to be connected. There's a database where outreach folks can track in real time where people are camping. So far this year, 3.5 months, 750 people have been housed. The city only dismantles homeless camps after housing is found for all the occupants. But like everything, there is a bit of a catch. According to the report, Houston has a decent supply of relatively affordable housing, and it used $100 million in COVID funds to help pay rent for people, on top of other homeless dollars. But it's another piece of evidence to back the housing first concept that some cities are working to adopt. Now, I'm sure many of you have something to say about that. Housing first or services first and then housing? Share your thoughts with us, will you? By the way, I'm impressed at how many of you watch the CBS Sunday Morning News. Good show. Maybe you've got something to say about Nigel's piece in Willamette Week or Nicole's reporting in the Oregonian. Email the story at kgw.com or call and leave a voicemail 503-226-5090.